Bookaholics and welcome back to another reading vlog. In today's reading vlog, I am going to be reading Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I am going to be doing a full spoiler vlog with this, and I'm going to do it in the style of an almost solve-along. So I'm going to be going through all of the clues that I think the author is giving us throughout the book, because I believe that there is a mystery element to this novel, and I have heard many people say that this is less for fantasy fans and more for mystery fans. I'm not a mystery fan, so one, it's entirely possible I will miss very obvious clues because it's not normally my thing, and two, it is entirely possible I will not enjoy this book because it is a mystery more than a fantasy. However, I have heard good things. I'm expecting good things from the writing style. I'm hoping that it will be a lot of fun. And I have this Fairy Loot edition, which was gifted to me by my lovely friend Mare, who I'll leave linked down below. I will be reading the digital edition that I have so that I can annotate, but I will be perusing through this one because it is absolutely stunning. And then if I really like this series for whatever reason, then I can always just go probably on Vinted and purchase the sequels in this style, because I only have the first one in this style. Without further rambling, let's see what this one's about. So this is the story of Emery Blackwood, who is, when she's about to go to her high school graduation, her long-term boyfriend and love of her life, the guy she thinks she's going to spend the rest of her life with, is accused of murdering her best friend Lily. Therefore, she is kind of left absolutely devastated because she's lost basically her boyfriend and her best friend in the same day. Since then, August has run away, and she had always intended to run away with him, but with the way that their relationship went, never amounted to that, and she ended up sticking by in this quiet, close-knit town that is steeped in folklore that she never thought she'd stay in. She always thought as soon as she graduated, she and August would be leaving. However, obviously she has not, and she's dealing with the trauma and the repercussions, as well as a life that she is unhappy with. However, 14 years after the initial event, we have August returning, and he is returning to bury his mother's ashes. The town hate him because they still believe that even though he was exonerated, that he was responsible for Lily's death, and she wants answers. So I guess we're going to be investigating who really did murder Lily, because I think it's an open case because everyone believes it's August. No one's really taken the time to investigate it further. So there's going to be that, and then a rekindling of the romance. I don't know what the magical elements are, other than it says steeped in folklore, which makes me think that there are magical happenings. It also says the island begins to show signs of strange happenings. The emergence of deep betrayals, hidden promises threaten to reveal the truth behind Lily's death once and for all. So I think it's going to be more magical realism style. I am really excited for this. We do get both perspectives. We've got both August and Emery's perspectives, as far as I can tell. I do prefer a dual narration, I guess, when we've got a romantic couple. So hopefully I'll have a good time. I'm going to try and read this in a day. So if the makeup and the clothes don't change, it's because the day hasn't changed. Thank you for tuning in, sticking around if you haven't read this. If you have, watch me fumble my way through my answers. Alright vlog, I have no thoughts or ideas yet, but I have read the first 5 chapters of Spells for Forgetting. So I thought I'd check in and just kind of let you know how I'm faring with the beginning of it, really. So far we have had, August was the first chapter, and he was arriving back at Charisse, which is the name of the island that they are all on. I don't even know where exactly this island is, other than I'm guessing America. This sounds very ethereal, very whimsical. We've had him arriving and like how he feels about the island and how he used to always feel so trapped by this island. And then we have also had Emery's perspective, and she has taken over her mother's shop and she's taken over taking care of her father, and it's how she feels about her life. I think it feels a little bit like Belle at the beginning of Beauty and the Beast, a little bit of that I want so much more out of life than I've got kind of thing. So yeah, I'm enjoying that aspect. I like the fact that it says in here that there is like a witchiness to the women of this island, that all the women have this kind of magic in them, but it's not explained, and I quite like that whimsy to it. It's much more how we see modern Wicca, I suppose, depictions, which I think is very cool. So I'm liking that. Some of the language used, or some of the choices that are used even within here, aren't quite clicking with me. There was, for example, example, August was on the phone with his friend and it was like, it's convenient that your old college roommate is now a lawyer, and it's like, it's really convenient that your friend needs to tell you that just for exposition's sake for us. You know, it's like, okay, of all the ways you could have done that, that was a weird one. I'm liking other parts of the writing style. I'm liking the whimsy of it. I'm liking the way that we're taking a really long time to just slowly get to know the feel of this town, which is nice. I quite like that we're just seeing her go through it. It literally feels like the beginning of Beauty and the Beast when she's going through and it's like, you know, there goes the baker with his tray like always. It's like that, you know, like there goes this old woman that used to do this, and there goes the person that runs the cafe, and there goes, you know, and we're just kind of getting to know the people. The marshal picked up August and I presume taken him to his house and is not wanting people to know that August is back, I guess because he knows it will be bad and he wants August to be gone as soon as possible. And August doesn't want to stick around. He wants to get going. He's just here because he wants to bury his mum and he wants to sell his mum's cottage. That's what we've got so far. 2 dead mums, 2 broken souls. We'll see how we go from there. At the moment, I know nothing really about the mystery. I know that the female lead, Emery, is the best friend of Lily, and we had a moment where this mother and daughter came in and the mother's like how she used to always come back to this town to get, you know, the herbs and things from the apothecary and to, you know, get a tarot reading and all of that and all those things that she used to do, but that she hasn't been back since that poor girl died. How do you think she died? And like trying to be like really morbidly curious, clearly not aware that our protagonist has a close connection with the girl that died. And that's the first mention I think we have of Lily's death. So we'll see how much more that starts to spark up. I imagine once we see more of August and more of the accusations, things will be revealed a bit more. But I am excited to continue. All right, I am 27% of the way in now. What do we know and what do I think has happened? So it seems like August's family orchard burnt down and then Lily wound up dead. I don't even know how she died yet. Everyone in the town thinks it was August that killed her. That is the full extent really of the information that we have. We know that Emery vouched for him, potentially lied to protect him. Dutch, who is the best friend, so he was Lily's boyfriend when they were kids. He was August's best friend and he is now Emery's boyfriend. They kind of, I think, trauma bonded because her boyfriend had to leave, his girlfriend was dead. And Dutch is the one that vouched for August, saying that they were together at the lighthouse. And he's the only reason why he got off from being accused, for being prosecuted, that is. But most people in the town think he is guilty. One of the things I'm really liking is that we are seeing the family of Emery still really like August and still have a lot of time for him. So they're all vouching for him when it comes to his right to bury his mum on Cerise, on the island. We're also seeing the way that Emery's grandmother is saying that she needs to go talk to August. She needs to get it resolved because she knows that Emery's never going to be happy in the way that she is at the moment. And we've had Emery's father go talk to August being like, stay away from Emery because it's just going to open old wounds and it's going to fuck her up. But I really like you, kid. Come say goodbye. I'll miss you when you're gone. Kind of thing. Emery's also just found out that her mum and August's mum were still in communication. They were still talking. Her mum and then Nixie, one of the women from the island, has known where August has been the whole time. And Emery's just found that out. So she's not happy. I feel like the book kind of is angling for me to suspect Dutch. So I don't suspect Dutch. There is kind of like we're showing glimpses of them in childhood and he is also a POV. Dutch is also a perspective in this book. Mostly it's Emery and August, but occasionally there are chapters of Dutch. I think I've had 2 Dutch chapters so far, if not only 1. But we get flashbacks. So we do get occasional flashbacks. We get flashbacks where it's like 6 months before or 5 months before, a few moments after. So all around a similar time of when the major events were happening. We haven't seen the event itself yet for obvious reasons. I think that it's kind of trying to frame it almost as Dutch because kind of highlighting that he's the only other viable candidate. I never trust that. So I don't actually know what happened yet. At the moment, the most I've got is that I don't think it's Emery or August, and I also don't think it's Dutch. But this whole town is very ethereal, very whimsical, very pretty, very cute, very close-knit, but also a little tiny bit culty, you know, a little bit creepy. So we'll see if it was just someone else, like one of the other like adults that maybe did it instead. I don't know. I've been listening to BookTube intermittently while reading, spent the whole morning doing this, and I plan on spending the afternoon doing so as well. So let's continue. I appreciate the camera quality on this is potentially going to not be the best, but I do really want to keep reading. So we're working with what we're working with, because I am now 52% of the way in. I was going to stop at 50% and then I just kind of lost track, and then I was like, oops. So I'm at 52% of the way now. So Dutch wasn't Lily's boyfriend. It's just a vibe they got, the way they were flirting with each other. We've read some of the letters that both August and Emery's mothers have been sending each other. And there's like a point where August's mother is like, I know what he did was unforgivable. You know, I had to protect my son, or something like that. So then that's leading the suspicion that he did actually do it, which makes me think he definitely didn't do it. And then we've had it where the village are clearly conspiring against him, including that they have seemingly taken his like family property for themselves, like for the village somehow. I'm not exactly sure how yet, but Emery knows because she's confronted her father about it. We've also found out that Emery's uncle was in love with August's mum. It's all very incestuous. I'm not gonna lie, it's all a bit weird. The relationship between Emery and August is rather intense, but does feel a little bit relatable because it is that, you know, kids that have been in love with each other and then have to move away from each other, which is me. So like, I get it. It just feels, I'm not saying that I wasn't this dramatic when I was a teenager. It just, you know, when you're reading it as an adult about 16-year-olds, even though I've literally lived through it, it's still a little bit like, okay. So I'm liking the prose style. I'm liking it. I'm invested. The intrigue is definitely there. The writing style's good. The characters, I wish I cared about a bit more, which is an odd thing to say with something that's this character focused. At the minute, mostly what I'm feeling is just frustration. I'm just frustrated with everyone and everything and the circumstances that have led to this, which is a shame. I just wish I was more invested, I guess, than I am in the characters. I'm liking the plot, I'm liking the intrigue, I'm liking the prose. So with Dutch not being Lily's boyfriend, so Lily apparently was pregnant. No one knows who Lily got pregnant with, and therefore everyone thinks it was August, and that's like the motive for murder, is he didn't want Em to find out he was cheating on her. I don't buy it. I don't know why I don't buy it. I mean, apart from that we get his inner monologue and we know how in love with Em he is. There's also just the part of me that thinks that if you wanted to break up a couple, like if Lily had for some reason wanted to break up a couple, wanted to break up August and Emily, she would have just gone to Emery. She wouldn't have gone to August and been on the hush-hush, because I think that's when things can go wrong. So I feel like there's more to it. We also know cause of death. So she had drowned. She had like seawater in her lungs, but she was in the middle of the forest and was bone dry. Like there was no seawater on her. Magic? Like the island drowned her? Question mark? I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be one I'm going to be able to guess, because I don't really understand how the magic of this island works other than it seems kind of sentient. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure it out. I don't know how August was wrapped up in this, because clearly he's done something. I don't know if he was maybe the one that started the fire, because there was like a fire on the same day. But he loved the orchard. But maybe he didn't. Maybe he just was all the time in the orchard because he wanted to avoid his grandfather, because his grandfather was abusive. So it might have been that he was avoiding his grandfather and that's why he was always in the orchard. And then as soon as he was going to leave, he was like, fuck it, I was going to burn it. I don't know. So it might have been that he set fire to the orchard, because the orchard was like a huge, really important part of this village and had nothing to do with Lily. And that might be the heinous, terrible thing that he did, as opposed to killing Lily. But then who killed Lily? Is it like, if it's the island, why would the island kill Lily? I'm so confused. I have more questions than answers at the minute, but I am enjoying my time reading it and figuring out the process. So once I've read a bit more, I'll check back in, let you know how I'm doing. morning vlog. I have gotten now to part 75, so I thought I would check in. Been having a really good time with this, actually. A little bit. That's better. I really like the atmosphere. I really like the intrigue. I really like the vibes of this. It's not new favourite territory because I don't care an awful lot about the characters outside of the two leads, August and Emery, as well as then potentially her father, and then the connection, I suppose, with the mothers, but obviously they've passed away, so that doesn't really mean a lot. I do like Emery's grandmother as well. I find her fascinating. We had quite a lot of reveals happen in the last 25%. Dutch and Lily were getting it on, and he was the one that had impregnated her. It wasn't August, which I never suspected it was August, I'm not gonna lie. The other reveal being that it was indeed August who set the fire. He's the one that started the fire. So he wasn't the one that killed Lily, but he was the one that started the fire. So I had managed to somewhat guess those. Dutch and Lily, it was more a mistake than anything. I just thought that they were quite flirty, and I kind of thought that they were a foursome, and I just made that assumption. So it turns out that that was accurate, but I can't say that that was a guess. I can't really say that was definitely a guess. I would say that that was just a fluke, an accident. But I can say that I did somewhat guess about the fire because I knew that two heinous things happened, and because I didn't think that August had killed Lily, because why would we be building a romance otherwise? It kind of made me think, okay, then he probably set the fire. I don't think those are big leaps, but I managed to guess them. So we still have the mystery. The last 25% is going to be the mystery of what happened to Lily. So we found out that Lily was sleeping with Dutch and had gotten pregnant with him, but that on the last day had gotten really irate and upset that August and Emery were leaving. She didn't want them to leave because we found out that she was in love with August. So Lily was in love with August, Dutch was in love with Emery, but Emery and August were in love with each other. Who killed Lily? Now that we've got 25% to go and the next check-in, I will have had it revealed. Now, Lily drowned in seawater on land in the middle of the forest. So I think it was a woman because we've got all of the spells going on here. Lily wanted to cast spells on some of the men at one point, and we've got all the magic, and it's the women that have the magic, and that keeps getting emphasized, that it's the women that have the magic. So I think it's going to be a woman. Now I have two possible options and a third that doesn't make sense. So the first option is that it was Lily's own grandmother, because Lily dying led to August being chased out of the town, and the town have been trying to steal August's family plot. Like, they have all conspired to steal it, and the way they did that is by vilifying August so that he would leave. So that makes me think that maybe it was Lily's own grandmother. If Lily was planning on leaving, she might see that as a betrayal. I don't know. It's a stretch. I'm not happy with it, but it's a possibility. The other possibility being that it was, for some reason, Emery's grandmother. Now, I love Emery's grandmother, so I don't think it's her. But if Lily had meant to harm Emery for whatever reason, then maybe. I don't know. And the other option is that the island killed Lily. But again, she was pregnant, so I don't know why it would do that. It doesn't make sense to me. I haven't really got anything. I genuinely don't have any suspects, unless it's like a spell gone wrong, like an accident, like a spell. I mean, it might have been Emery that accidentally killed her, but I don't know. We're following Emery, and Emery, we get her in a monologue, so it's not Emery. It could have been someone doing an accidental spell, but it's magic. It's definitely magic, so it's definitely a woman. It could be Nixie, who's another woman that we've had. I can't find a motive with Nixie, so with Nixie, it might have been an accident. Might have been also because Nixie was very close with both Emery and August's mothers. They were kind of like a trio of best friends, so it might have been that she was trying to protect August and Emery, but it backfired. I don't know. But then why would she conspire against them later with the town to siphon the land? I feel like it's to do with the land, but I'm not sure. I don't know. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go read the remaining 25%, and then I will let you know what happened. I'll let you know how satisfied I am with the ending. We'll go from there because I have questions and I would like to get them answered. Hey vlog, I'm here to check in because I have finished Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I've given this, it's come out at a 3.5 on Corpal, which feels about right. I've left it at a 3 on Goodreads. The ending of this, I mean, I had kind of guessed it. There are 3 things involved really with the death of Lily, and I was right about 2 of them, which is bizarre to me. So the first thing is that Lily died because she was heartbroken. So she had a massive fallout with Emery, and Emery found out that she had also initially been a suspect, but that her uncle had kind of persuaded the investigation away. One of the lead things that links Emery to this, that Lily had in her hand a necklace that belonged to Emery. So the uncle took the necklace away, hid it. Later on, we find out that Emery had told Lily that her and August were going to be leaving. Lily completely lost it. She went absolutely feral angry about it. We then see a perspective from the perspective of the island, and we're watching Lily. It's how she has gone to various people because she's upset, and she is basically going to murder Emery. She is going to cast a spell that will drown Emery. Like the way that Lily died was actually intended for Emery. Then she assumed that because Emery's dead, she'd finally be able to weasel her way into August's bed, be able to claim that the baby was his, and therefore be able to reclaim her family's heritage, which is his family's orchard that had come into his family through her family's line through ancestors. She casts the spell, and because we're getting it from the perspective of the island kind of uses the magic against Lily instead. Lily's not strong enough to perform the spell and ends up ricocheting on her, basically. So she drowned herself. And the island had kind of intervened there to protect Emery because it didn't want the magic used that way. So the island kind of killed Lily, which I had sort of guessed. I didn't understand it at the time, but kind of. But Lily mostly killed Lily. However, there is a third part to this, and that is that Leona, Lily's grandmother, had been the one that had kind of guided Lily towards this act, because either way, either Lily succeeds, in which case there is a chance that she'd be able to bed August, have her baby and pretend it was August, and therefore they'd get their orchard back, or Lily wouldn't succeed and then she'd be able to blame the murder. Either way, she even says, like, she justifies it as like Lily was the sacrifice for getting the orchard back, which makes absolutely no sense to me because she has no descendants other than Lily. Lily dying, it goes back to the town, the orchard goes back to the town. There's no Morgan to continue it. Lily is the last of her line, so it makes no sense. During all of this, Jake has taken August and is going to murder him. I'm going to pretend it was a suicide. Pretend that he's gathered enough evidence to show that August had killed Lily, that he'd shown August, and therefore August had killed himself instead of facing justice. And really, he was just going to throw August off of a cliff. The whole town conspired in favor of this, apart from Emery's dad, who had conspired previously in removing August's father because he was abusive. Emery arrives just in time, and she and August leave. They just leave together. They're never coming back. And then we get to an epilogue where her and August have been living together for 6 years. They're happily married. She's getting a PhD in psychology. He's a teacher like he always has been. And they have 2 kids. They have 2 daughters. And both of the daughters clearly are also connected to the island. They still have dreams about the island, even though they've never been. We've got those connections coming back, the way the island always calls you back in the end and blah, 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 which was very cool. I liked this. I think it was good. I kept kind of accidentally guessing things, sort of questioning if it were possible, and then that was how it ended up being. I definitely cannot take credit for really guessing exactly what happened, but I don't think you really can, because the magic isn't explained enough for you to be able to understand how it happened. But I liked it. I liked the voice of the book. I liked the tone. I liked the POVs. It's not one that I feel very strongly about. It's not one that I'm ever really going to think about again, I don't think, but I enjoyed my time reading it while I did. Excited to read more by this author. I am going to be doing a sort of not quite solve along because I'm not quite solving it, but spoiler, unraveling my thoughts and trying to figure it out, and you can watch me try and figure out these mysteries. I am going to be doing that with Adrienne Young's 2 other books, which are The Unmaking of June Farrow and The Sea of Unspoken Things. So I am hopefully going to be doing that in the near future, and therefore more vlogs of this type will be coming. So I hope that you've enjoyed. But yeah, I had a great time trying to figure out the mystery. I wish, again, I liked the story more. The mystery part was good, the atmosphere was fantastic, and the writing style was really nice. I did like our main characters, and then basically really only by the end of it, Emery's grandmother. Everyone else was just icky, but it was done well. It was well executed. So I would have liked to have had possibly a little bit more of an emotional connection. I guess a little bit more of a repercussion for the town, I think, is my biggest drawback. We have Nixie, who is a friend. I've mentioned Nixie before. She's a friend of both Emery and August's mother. And when the whole town are getting together to be like, okay, are we going to kill August or not? She opposes, and then by the end of it, they're all sort of in agreement. But then later on in the epilogue, we're still in contact with Nixie, and it's like, I guess they don't know who did and didn't agree. But to me, it just is absolutely bonkers that they would still be in touch with someone that nearly killed August. I did quite like the relationship. I liked the bond that we had between August and Emery, and it is something that I can empathize with, even though it seems really melodramatic in this book, and it is, I suppose, but it is something that I can empathize with because it is similar enough to my lived experience, not in the traumatic sense, in the sense that I always thought that me and my now husband would go away together and we would get out of here together, and then he left and I didn't, and I felt stuck and he felt like he'd been dragged away, and a lot of that is similar. A lot of the emotional part in here is similar, even though we don't have the trauma, thank God. I guess that is one of the things that made me connect with this book more. So it's not one that I would shout from the rooftops to recommend. It's not one that I would say, oh, this is one of the best books I've ever read, but it was a good time. And if you're looking for a fun mystery to pass the time, I would recommend. That is it for this one. I'll hopefully enjoy the next 2 just as much. And if you want to know my thoughts on the next 2, then stick around, it won't be long. But that is all from me for today. So thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know if you've read this and your thoughts on it. And if based on my liking of this one, you have any other recommendations, I would love to know. Bye now.